All right, welcome back to another episode of TSP. How's everyone doing?
Yacht!
Good.
So tonight's our second annual Purple Heart edition. Today is National Purple Heart Day, so I asked the Purple Heart recipients to join us tonight. And so today we have four fine fellas with Purple Hearts. How you guys doing?
Alive.
Well,
Excellent.
great.
Yes. Thank you all for
Hello.
your service. I'm not going to give you my speech today because it's a special day, but just remind everybody that this podcast does feed a nonprofit, so you can just read all the stuff in the notes down there. So we'll get right into it, man. So what the goal is today is to sit down and talk about the day that you guys earned your Purple Heart. So I figure, since I'm the only one here, full disclosure, I'm the only one on this panel that does not have a Purple Heart. So
You
be
lucky
just-
son.
Yeah, good for you.
Look, way to go, shipmate. Way to go.
All that means is you moved faster than the four of us did.
That's right. That's right. You didn't have a target on your back.
Right.
We did.
Right on. All right, so we'll get started with Bert, man. I'm just going to start as an
Let's
order.
do
that
a
I
round
see.
robin. Yeah.
Yeah, a little round robin here. Bert, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Bert Cusimano. Well, Albert Cusimano by Bert. I live in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. This is my second year on this. I was on your first annual last year, which I was very honored to be. And
Yes, sir.
Combat Chaps there, Andrew, invited me to come back for this one. And there was
You're
no way I
welcome for
could
my
say
service.
no.
You're
I mean,
welcome for my service.
It's amazing. You all do great things, and I'm really honored to be here.
Thanks,
Marine
Bert.
Corps and Army. I did both. I was Marine Corps first, and then glutton for punishment. Didn't have enough, so I went into the Army after. So
So which one did you get your Purple Heart in?
got it in the Army in Iraq, January 29th, 2009, Talil. Well, right outside Al-Nazariya. So we were on a convoy. I was in the gunner's turret because in the Marine Corps, I was 0331 heavy machine gunner.
Yo!
I was 92 Yankee in the Army. I said, look, I did the grunt stuff. I'm gonna be a pogue. I'll sit behind the desk. I'll be happy, and I'll send y'all all the ammo y'all need. But my XO, I was the S4 NCOIC of the battalion, and my my battalion XO said, "Oh well, Sergeant C, I understand when you were in the Marine Corps, you did something." I'm like, "Sir, that wasn't me. I promise. I don't care what you heard. Didn't do it. I wasn't there. Nope, can't pin it on me. They didn't have cell phones, cameras, nothing back then. I'm good. No recordings." He said, "No, I heard you were a gunner." I'm like, "Sir, with all due respect, go to hell. I'm not getting in that gunner for you, but I need a gunner on my security team. Sir, once again, I like you, but no. It's an order." So I had
Keep
to
walking,
go.
sir. Keep walking. Pound sand,
And I
buddy.
was in the gunner. I was in the turret on a Humvee with a 50 cal in front of me, and a little 15-year-old kid, Iraqi kid, hit me in my arm, went right in between where all the plates are, hit, ricocheted off my bicep, the bone in my bicep. It severed my bicep, hit my arm, bounced up, lodged into a lymph node right here, swelled up every single lymph node on the left side of my body like a golf ball. Got brought out. We hit a roadside bomb, rolled over. I was the pinball in the Humvee, sustained 3 compression fractures in my spine.
Damn.
That's what happened.
So
You're
you
not,
got hit
not
twice?
supposed to do that, Bert.
Dan, now thinking back, yes, I know. Then at the time, adrenaline pumping just happens.
Yep.
Damn.
Wow.
Sounds like a rough day.
And
Rough day at the
actually, my
office.
son was born 2 weeks after that happened. So I'm really lucky to be here and been able to be here with him and still have him and everything else. So I'm very happy.
Then a Marine MP came along and says, you can't park there.
That's right.
Get your
I
hands
gave
out of
you
your
a ticket.
pockets.
I gave you a ticket and said, I need your first sergeant's name.
I would look. Look, I was on so much stuff, I probably would have told you Chesty Puller was my first sergeant at that
Sure.
moment. Because, they had me on about 12, 800 ibuprofens. I had about 5 gallons of water, and that was going to fix me up perfectly.
Yep. Just make sure
Drink,
you take your ibuprofen,
drink water, stand up,
and
Motrin.
get as much sleep as possible. You'll be fine.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Doc.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Change your socks.
Yeah, change your socks. That's right.
They did ask me if I had baby powder in my rucksack, just to make sure.
Now, hey, Bert, I got a question. Was the when you got shot, was it like point blank? Like when you were in a convoy? Like was it point
We were in a
blank?
convoy. We actually, my my battalion commander got lost, so he pulled the whole convoy over on the interstate. He was a lieutenant colonel.
Of course.
And he was known as the Donald Trump, the Trump of our, because he had the hair and he kind of always flipped it over and everything. When we actually took a unit picture with General Petraeus at the time, he's actually laying down, spread out like in a pose, in front of everybody. So it was like a GQ pose. But anyway, he was about, I'd say maybe 100 meters away in the sand.
Okay.
He just took a crack shot because we were all sitting there, and me like the goof, I'm just sitting up in the turret, just rocking back and forth on the strap,
right?
Because I was bored. So
that's a nice shot. 100 yards.
Oh yeah, he was lucky.
Shot for 15 or heck yeah.
I look at it this way: either he was a lucky shot, or he was a horrible shot to just get my arm and not anything else.
Yeah.
So did they take the kid out?
Yeah, we did.
Hell yeah.
I think I actually got one hit off on him with the 50 cal, and the rest of the team dismounted and went out and dispersed, and there wasn't much left of him.
Well, 50 cal, that's a nice little wake up when you get shot with that.
Yes.
I've done that a couple times too, Bert, because I also am an 0331. And a 50 cal will make a nice mess of somebody.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, it'll leave a little permanent hole in you.
It will leave a little hole.
A little one.
Or like cut you in half.
Well, glad you're here, Bert. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Glad you're here.
Yeah. Thanks, Bert.
And I've had the pleasure. I know Andrew very well. We met last year at the VFW National Convention for the first time.
I'll see you next year, buddy. I'll see you in Louisville.
Yes. And Dan and I, we're both members of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Well, Andrew is as well.
Andrew is, me too.
But
North Carolina, not Tennessee. I'm part of the MOPH in North Carolina.
We've done a lot together to get a lot of Purple Heart entities down here in Louisiana. So I've worked for about 1.5 years now, right, Dan? You and I have worked together with that?
Right. It would have been a lot longer if we could have got it working that way.
Yes, sir. I agree.
At no fault from Bert, by the way.
I tried. So
yeah, Combat Chaps, he just made Murfreesboro, Tennessee a Purple Heart town.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have Bert actually was counting, and I think you've got 6, right, in Louisiana?
I got 5 cities, 3 parishes, because down here in Louisiana we're a parish, not a county. So I got 5 cities, 3 parishes. I have 15 VFWs.
Damn.
9 VFW auxiliaries and a middle school.
Damn, dude.
Showing you
up. I've got Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, Laverne, Smyrna, AMVETS 325, Cub Scope Pack 108, and the Ranger Base Minatra in Laverne. So I'm working my numbers, but hopefully I'll have some more this year.
See, I had the distinct pleasure a couple years ago, before Dan took over as the director of the Purple Heart Trail with the Military Order of the Purple Heart, that actually puts on a website for the Purple Heart Trail, all the Purple Heart entities, whether they're businesses, schools, cities, towns, counties, parishes, all those different sports teams, all that type of stuff. If you want information, go to, search Purple Heart Trail. It tells you. There's no, the only requirements are, and there are requirements, but it's very easy.
Yeah.
If you want to become a Purple Heart entity, all you have to do is make sure that you honor, respect, thank, and remember Purple Heart and recipients, whether they're still here or not. That's the only requirements. If you can do that and you can make sure that they know that you care about them, you're fully qualified to become a Purple Heart entity. If I misspoke, Dan, please correct me, but I believe that's correct, right?
You're right on. It comes from the heart, and you say, our city, our organization, our program, our professional team, from the heart, we want to honor Purple Heart recipients. And then they'll read a proclamation in public and send the proclamation to me, and I put them on the trail, and they're official.
Yep. Very easy.
Hey, Andrew,
Sir.
you need to get with both Drew and I, because Dan mentioned Drew Rasputin from the VFW up in Washington.
Yeah, of course.
He is drawing up a proclamation that Dwayne, the VFW national commander, Dwayne Sarmiento, he will read next year in Louisville at the national convention, turning VFW national into a Purple Heart entity. He's already asked me to be a part of it. I'm gonna he and I gonna help draw it up and look at everything, and then we've already talked to Dwayne and Dan West, and they're fully on board 100%.
Good.
We're gonna have it read and done at the national convention, and then get it to you, Dan, so it can be put on the trail.
You bet,
dude. That's awesome. I'm glad, because Dan West. Yeah, I mean, if Dan likes it, yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And Dan, as you know, Dan West is a fellow Marine, and he is our adjutant general of the VFW. He is the man. He's a big
from the
chief.
great state of Texas.
Yes, right.
What's the purpose of having a Purple Heart entity?
It's it's an external show that you have internally honored those that have served and who have received the Purple Heart. There's no financial gain. There's no eliteness to it. It happens to be something that the organization has said from their heart, we want to honor Purple Heart recipients and their families.
Yes.
So,
and Dan and Bert, because of you guys, and because of that Purple Heart entity proclamation that was signed by our mayors, county and city, we have 2 Purple Heart parking spots in the front of our main square building, which I get to park there every single Sunday for our coffee with a veteran. They're like, Andrew, why are you parking so far away? I'm like, hey man, I'm parking on my spot. Okay. We helped get that spot.
I was going to ask you about parking. I was going to ask you about parking spots, because I know Lowe's does a parking spot for veterans. So how do you go about getting an organization to put up a parking spot?
There again, you ask
go ahead, Dan.
You ask them. It's pretty simple.
One of our community leaders in Rutherford County, he was like, he made the motion after I read the proclamation, and it didn't come into effect until the new mayor took over, but they're out in front of the courthouse right now, and they're still there. I mean, it's awesome.
Now,
it's really easy.
I am not compensated whatsoever, but there is one national chain of restaurant, every restaurant in the United States, that has a Purple Heart parking spot, and that's BJ's.
Oh yeah.
BJ's actually, they have a veteran parking spot, but they also they bought off of online or DOT or whatever, and it's the actual metal plate. It says Purple Heart parking.
Yeah, reserve Purple Heart.
Yeah.
BJ's put the second one up out here in Connecticut, in Torrington, Connecticut.
Yeah, and we got a new BJ's in Smyrna like 2 months ago, and they have a Purple Heart sign too. So yeah, that's good to go.
Yeah, we have one in Baton Rouge and we have one in Slidell that I know of, and they have them there. So,
all right. So you're talking about the warehouse?
Yeah, the
BJ's.
BJ's
restaurant.
Because there's a BJ's restaurant by my.
Not the restaurant.
No, it's BJ's restaurant that has it.
Oh, the restaurant has it too?
Yes.
That's good.
Wow. Well, the BJ's is like
Yeah,
it's like a
BJ's restaurant
Costco
is
or
the
a
one who
Sam's
has it
Club.
nationwide.
Yeah, and then down in Florida, all 18 of the Mission barbecues have
Oh, yeah.
become Purple Heart entities.
That's right. And we have one in Murfreesboro too.
Yep. All right. Hey, chaps, why don't you introduce yourself and give us your story?
Sure. Thank you. Hey, good to see you
Yes, sir.
guys. Happy Purple Heart Day. My name is Richard Andrew Stephen Farr, VFW State Chaplain, VFW 12206 All-State All-American Commander. Yeah. Hey, sorry. I'm sorry. I got my first one. Now Fleek, he's been All-State All-American 3 years in a row. This is my first year and going for my second. But it's really good to see you guys. I got my Purple Heart in July of 2006, the Battle of Ramadi. That was kind of hellish fighting. I was with 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines, India Company, 0331 machine gunner. We're doing a patrol. Actually, I just had a reunion with my boys last weekend. So it sparked all of the memories coming back, and I'm going to try and remember as much as I can. But I think I was 2nd platoon, 2nd squad. We went on a patrol mission at the Islamic Ramadi Bank in Ramadi downtown. We did a night patrol. We cleared the building up 3 floors down. Then we came down. There's this big hole in the main lobby, and so we came down, and they saw us coming down, and they shot an RPG at us, and me and 3 other guys got hit with shrapnel. Zach Schweitzer, Carl Golian, myself, and Kenneth Ward. Kenneth Ward got peppered all the way up his back. Zach got it in his ass. Carl Golian got it in his legs, and I got it in my foot. And so as soon as we got hit, we started fighting. And then we called Corpsman up, as Marines always do. And they took us away. And as we were leaving, I was put in the back of a Humvee. And all I could see, I looked up, and it was just like Star Wars, man. It was tracers, like QRF showed up, like everybody was firing that day. It was like one stream of red that would not go away for like 35 minutes. They got us to Charlie Med. They tried to take out the shrapnel. Some Navy doctor said it'll come out in the shower. And he lied because it did not come out in the shower. That piece of shrapnel was on my mantle for probably about 10 years until I opened it up and the air got to it and disintegrated. But yeah, that shit sucked. That shit hurt a lot. And that deployment sucked. We lost 17. Plus, we had 47 Purple Hearts given out in October when we got home. And I got, obviously I got the Purple Heart, and a lot of my buddies did too. But a lot of my buddies, didn't come home either. So I know that's my story. Hope it wasn't too boring. But it, I don't know. I admire Bert and Dan and Alex for you guys, and I want to help out. Recognize all entities around us to be a Purple Heart entity. Be it,
Yes.
the University of Tennessee at Knoxville is a Purple Heart entity. Go Vols! That's right. Very excited. But I will strive to get more entities in Tennessee, Purple Heart entities.
Awesome,
Very
man.
good.
Thanks for sharing. Glad you're
Thanks,
here.
Alex. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Really happy you're here.
Sorry, it was, I remember last year was a lot longer. Like that took like 35 seconds. So I don't know. Damn, I didn't embellish as much, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah. It's all good, man. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a co-host on the show, man. Appreciate
Hey,
everything that
Fleek,
you
when
do.
you asked me to do this show and help you out, man, getting our stories, getting our veteran stories, it's helped me tremendously. Because that's sometimes you just need someone to talk to and get it off your chest. Have someone be your sounding board. because I definitely did. I'm sorry. I have to tell this story. I have to. I know it's Purple Heart Day, but this has been on my mind since 3/8 India Company was. We had our reunion this past weekend. Well, okay, the house that we got was given to us for free by our district commander in the VFW. And in 7 years of them having this Airbnb, they have never, in their 7 years of existence, seen the mess made by 13 Marines in Altamont, Tennessee. They told me yesterday, your foundation, your battalion is never allowed in Altamont, Tennessee ever again. Yeah, us Marines, we're messy as shit. Damn, where'd Dan go?
Dan just dropped off,
Dan.
man.
We lost him.
I think we
I know
lost him.
he'll come back.
He'll jump back on.
But yes, us Marines, Albert, Alex, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh
We're
yeah.
messy. And we are pigs. We're fucking pigs.
Hey,
There are many
yes.
places.
what is it? Either go big or go home, and
Go big
we
or
never
go
go
home.
home. So
Bohica, Bubby. Bohica.
Yeah, there's many
And-
places that we're not allowed back.
yeah,
No. Well, I've never been told by someone like, yeah, you guys aren't allowed back ever again. I'm like, damn. And I helped clean that up, man. It took 2 hours. I mean, it was bad, dude. Oh my God, it was disgusting. We were so gross. It's so gross.
The worst part about it, the person that owns it is his district commander.
Our district commander, Fleek. He's yours too, man.
But you're the commander of the outfit. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good for the Marines. Hey, I'm in the clear. I've already been told. She loves me. I just got off the phone with her like an hour ago. I'm good to go. You're good to go, Fleek. But the rest of my Marines, they're fucking animals. All of them. They don't have. Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what? I love them. I love you guys. If you're watching this, I love you guys. But you guys are messy, man.
Messy.
You guys are messy. Wow.
You should have been in charge, man. You're the one that put it together.
Yeah,
dude,
no
I was.
Put
But
it all
you know
on
what?
you, man.
When Marines are drunk, and you tell them not to do something, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, they do
Anyways,
the opposite.
It doesn't matter,
It's a
right,
challenge.
Alex? Bert,
It's a challenge.
It's basically a big fat no balls in their
Right.
face, so they're gonna do it.
Yeah, the first thing you do is like, is that a challenge? You challenge that with
You
with
can't
another
back
challenge.
away from a no balls.
Yeah.
You can't. It's just it's a rule.
Even when you know that you most likely will not succeed, you can't live with the rest of your life knowing that you didn't at least give it your best shot. So that's a challenge.
Alex,
Oh,
that
yeah,
sounds like
definitely.
you've had a lot of bull in the ring
Oh,
instances, haven't you?
yes.
All right. Yeah, dude, we were like this close to bull in the ring with all those guys. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
We still do it no matter what. I mean, some of us that are a little bit more broken, we don't get as involved as we used to, on respectfully.
I can't.
But,
I'm broken,
yeah.
dude. They will they will really hurt me if I do bull in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my thing. I'm just trying to.
Right on.
Where the hell is Dan? I hope he comes back.
Yeah, I hope he comes back too, man.
I know. I was kind of really looking forward to hearing his story also.
For a guy that was on
Well,
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier detail, I want to
Oh,
hear
I
that
know,
fucking
right?
story.
Yeah, I know, right?
Holy
As soon as
shit.
we get done with Alex, we'll just bullshit for a while until he comes back
That's
out.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Alex, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Alex Nart. I'm a Marine reservist. Still, yeah, right. So like my last name is a weird last name, so it's actually pronounced Nauert. But my grandfather and their ancestors, when they came over from Germany, they wanted nothing to do with like whenever that time was. I don't even know. I haven't really gotten that far back, but all I know is the history of my family passed down. Is they wanted nothing to do with the German nationality. They wanted to completely become Americans, whatever. They didn't want that stigma of what the German government and military were doing, so they changed their last name from Nauert, because obviously that's super German, to NART. They wanted it to be a little bit more cut, clean, straight to the point, to where people couldn't, specify whether or not, they were German ancestors. So I still have aunts and uncles that pronounce it Nauert. A lot of times I will, depending on the situation where I go, I'll say, yes, it's Nauert, because that's the easiest way to pronounce it when they're reading it off a piece of paper. But yeah, so still currently in the Marine Corps Reserves. Just hit my 15-year mark. Was promoted to gunnery sergeant August 1.
Shut up.
Yep. Just,
Congratulations, Gunny.
You're a fucking gunny.
Yep, 6 days ago.
Oh my God! Holy shit!
So I got
good for you, Alex. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. 5 more years, and I don't know. I'm holding on tight. Hopefully, I can make it. I see the light at the end of that tunnel, but for some reason, that fucking light is just not getting any bigger. It's just staying small. So, but super excited about it. But I can't. 15 years have gone by pretty quick, and so I'm hoping these last 5 years can probably do the same. It's not,
they're gonna crawl. They're gonna crawl.
It doesn't hurt. Also, I'm actually I live here in Louisville, Kentucky, and it doesn't hurt that.
Wait, Alex, you live in Louisville, Kentucky?
I do, yeah. I live right outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Yep.
We'll be there next July.
We'll be there.
Yeah,
we'll be there next year.
Yeah.
And my family is actually the Browns from Brown-Forman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My first cousin is president of Europe, of Jack Daniels Europe, and my aunt's great grandfather founded Brown-Forman, Garvin Brown in 1870. Garvin. That's pretty cool, man.
Is your cousin Marshall?
Yeah,
Marshall Farrar?
Yeah, that's my cousin. How do you know?
Yeah,
you know my cousin?
Yeah, I worked at Brown-Forman for a little while.
You what?
Yeah, so Campbell Brown's now the chairman of the board. And
he's Campbell's my second cousin. We all went to Rollins College, man. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's a story for another. That's when you come to Louisville next year.
I can't wait to tell Marshall that I fucking met one of his buddies. Holy dude, that's awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. Damn. Now Marshall may not remember me or know of me, because he obviously was way up here.
Yeah, he's way up.
And I was way down here. I had some interaction with him, but he may not. But it'll be cool to have a conversation with you on that. Yeah,
that's cool, man. Yeah. Well, sorry.
So Alex, let's do a full podcast on Thursday. I think we're still scheduled for Thursday, right? We'll get your whole story then, if you're available.
We could still probably try and shoot that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But so now that Dan's back, I'll just kind of backtrack real quick. So just kind of introduce myself real quick, Dan, while you were gone. Just hit my 15-year mark in the Marine Corps Reserves. Was recently promoted to gunnery sergeant E7 as of August 1st of this month. So I've been gunning for 6 days now. And right now, I currently live right outside of Louisville, Kentucky. But I am stationed at Camp Smith, Hawaii, in Oahu. So I've been stationed down there for the last 4 years. I've got about 1 more year to go down there. So basically what I do is I travel down to Hawaii once a year, sometimes twice a year, and I knock everything out at once. I basically do all of my drills, my AT, and then I also get put on ADOS orders here and there, depending on the situation. My role currently in the reserves and what I do is I'm the information and personnel security chief, is a part of investigations for security clearances and classified materials handling. So anything that is determined classified that is to be transported, moved around, passed around, spillages, or whether or not an incident occurs in reference to whether it was on purpose or whether it was by accident. The first initial stages of an investigation come through my office, and I'm typically the one who kind of helps investigate that and determines, along with the NCIS and DIA and or if need to be CIA, to determine whether or not what next steps need to be taken as far as punishment action, things of that nature. So as a reservist, when I go down there, people, when they see me walk on the floor, they don't really see my face a lot. So when it's an unknown person that, they're typically not used to, that something's usually kind of up if I'm walking on your floor. So so that's why they kind of do that. But it is fun. It is fun. I enjoy it. It's the first time in my Marine Corps career that I've had civilian leadership. So I answer to civilians. I technically fall under the command of the commanding general and his chief of staff. So that is my direct reports to him based out of. So it is kind of neat. It is a great opportunity. I'm very blessed to have, a chief of staff, a colonel and the chief of staff, and then a 3-star general that I report directly to give information on. But specifically because of what my role is, bypassing certain entities without messaging or wording get misconstrued, and or because we have senior ranking officials that sometimes, conduct misconduct. So that's why it's a kind of a direct report. So that's my role in the Marine Corps Reserves. Full-time wise, I own a beer truck as a veteran-owned small business, as well as I'm also in the nonprofit industry and with the Woody Williams Foundation. Does anybody know who Woody Williams is? Okay, so Woody Williams is was basically like my grandfather, non-blood related.
No way.
And so he kind of fulfilled that role for me. And I am part, along with his grandsons and some other amazing individuals. We run his national nonprofit where we honor Gold Star families with Gold Star Families Memorial Monuments around the nation. We're in all 50 states, plus 1 U.S. territory in Guam. We have a few other U.S. territories that have been knocking at our doors, wanting to know some information and to bring memorials there, as they too have Gold Star families that still live in those U.S. territories from World War II, even as well as the War on Terror. And so, but we ensure that we can make sure that the loved ones of those who have sacrificed so dearly for our nation never are forgotten either, because we all too sometimes forget that the families also too sacrifice, and that the families, of course, are there to receive their loved ones' remains, and then during the ceremony, as we lay them to rest, and typically, which for educational purposes, that's what we're doing, is those families are then kind of forgotten. And then we all too think of just the fallen service member, which rightfully so, as we should. But, I've lost, some service members and some friends of mine and my deployments as well, and made those promises to those families that, that they will never be forgotten and that we'll always remember them as well too. And so that was Woody's mission. That was Woody's vision, and that's what he wanted to carry on, and that's what he wanted his legacy to be. And so Woody, if he was still around, last year, June 29th, we lost a great hero, and we just celebrated what is going to be his 100th birthday this coming year. So we got a big legacy celebration for him that's going to happen in West Virginia, September 30th, and then we're going to dedicate one of his memorials in his home state of West Virginia in Huntington on October 2nd, that's his birthday. And so we're looking forward to that. So if you haven't checked out, his website, it's simple, woodywilliams.org, and just see all the good things that he is set in stone and carrying out his legacy. So,
yeah, I was on national committee for the funeral to get that as a state funeral.
State funeral, yes, sir.
That was unique. I'm sorry I didn't make the actual funeral, but.
Well, he laid in honor. So it was, it was something that, he's the first Medal of Honor recipient ever in our nation to ever lie in honor in the nation's capital. And we totally understand and respect the lie in state terminology and requirements to our nation. And so, some people had made comments that it was very frustrating or very upsetting that didn't happen in the proper terms usage. But for us and for him, just to even lie in honor was more than enough for us, and to be able to have his funeral service as well there at the World War II Memorial there in DC. So that was a long 6 months for us. I think we're still coming down off of everything. It was extremely busy, if you will, but we wanted to make sure that Woody was honored properly and everything. So we did multiple funeral services throughout that day, throughout that weekend, in multiple different states, and with our great partners with American Airlines. If it wasn't for them, none of that would have really been possible to get to and from, and of course the West Virginia Air National Guard to kind of help us out with that. So, but
Alex, he's got a VFW post named after him.
He does.
VFW 7048 in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Fairmont, West Virginia, yes, sir.
That's pretty.
Yep.
That's wow.
I believe he's also the only Marine Medal of Honor recipient that has an Air National Guard hangar named after him as well.
Wow. Didn't know that.
You're right. And of course, recently as well too, back a couple of years ago, when COVID started, we had a shipped, commissioned USS Herschel Woody Williams.
Yes. Yep.
That's an ESB class. That was in March of 2020, right before the government and the whole country shut down. So that was an amazing experience in itself, and it was truly an honor and a blessing to be present for that. But okay, I think I'm getting long-winded on that. My bad. Back to me. It's hard for me to, like, when people ask, talk about like your experience. I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about myself, I guess. I don't really
it's
like.
Okay.
It, but,
it's okay, man.
But okay, so that's my role. But October 5th, 2010, 8:53 p.m. Afghanistan time is when my incident happened. I too was a turret gunner in the lead scout navigational vehicle on a convoy mission that was doing a fuel and ammunition resupply to a northern FOB area, which prior to 3-5 coming aboard and taking over that area, it was 1-8. And so they were in a transition period. So we were resupplying them and providing security for those logistical movements when we were moving. So yeah, ammunition, fuel, seed, supplies, everything they had going on in their AO to try to cut down on the growing of poppies and marijuana, trying to switch out to grain and wheat and all that. So we were headed up that way. We were on mission it was 36 hours. We had all not been to sleep yet whatsoever. We had come under, a couple harassing fires here and there, a couple mortar rounds, RPGs used as direct or indirect fire. And then we kind of got welcomed real quick on, what we were trying to train for as far as IED placement. And next thing you know, we are just rolling over IEDs left and right. I don't really know how much training you can really prepare for bombs that are dug in the ground in Afghanistan that you can't see, and then kind of them picking up, trying to stay ahead of them on their tactics, because to be honest with you, they're smart. They were always one step ahead of us when we were trying to always get 2 steps ahead. That we thought every time we got 2 steps ahead, we always fell 1 back because they'd pick up on our tactics. And so, but we had a vehicle, a command vehicle that was down in a wadi. We had already gone up and through the wadi and provided overwatch for the rest of the supply trucks to come through. And one of our security command vehicles hit an IED, and all 3 of the individuals, their vehicle 1 was completely just destroyed, and those 3 individuals needed to be medevaced. And so we went down, we cleared them. We got them safely up to a medevac site to where we could get them in and out of there. At the time, we still had 2 vehicles that were down in that wadi that we needed to recover without just leaving behind. If it was me, my 22-year-old self, 23-year-old self, I was like, hell, just call it in and blow the thing up. We'll go pull all the serialized gear and just blow it up. Like, why risk, more resources of getting hit? But I don't know. I'm just enlisted. I feel like the officers, they could make it their, situation dictate whatever needs necessary. But I'm a military brat. I was raised, with around officers and stuff, and I always said, hey,
haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I always say, officers need heroes too, and that's where the enlisted come into play. Right? Don't worry, Mr. Dan. You're gonna have your shot at it. You're gonna have your shot at it in a minute. So we went down, we recovered, we came back up to kind of what we called the tabletop, and went up there. It was night. The night had fallen. Everybody is completely sleep deprived. So our command finally tells us we're just going to stop here. We're not going to move anywhere until daylight comes, just to kind of, regain our bearings, whatever it may be. Well, the next day comes. We all get a couple hours of sleep, and the command comes down and says, "Hey, we have to go get, those 2 vehicles." We didn't necessarily leave them. We left someone with an overwatch on them. However, one way or another, I wasn't there. I can't really say what happened, but the enemy kind of came and backlayed everything for us because they knew we were going to come and get it. So we all kind of made our peace with God and knew we were pretty much going on a suicide mission in reference to going and recovering this vehicle, because we could see with our thermals as well as with just plain sights, there were command wires and pressure plates everywhere. There were pressure cookers that's completely surrounded, these vehicles, but we were told that we needed to get them out regardless. I don't know how, by the blessing of God, it just happened. We were able to finagle our way in and out without an IED going off. And as we were kind of praising ourselves, I think we kind of celebrated a little bit too early because night was falling. We then got put back into the front as the navigational vehicle, and we were coming up. And as we were coming up out of the wadi, we were coming up and within the MATVs that we were riding in, which is something that was a little bit bigger than what the Humvees were prior to them before they went to the actual MRAPs. They were a little bit lighter, and that's what we were in. We probably shouldn't have been in the front vehicle in this vehicle, but it is what it is. That's the resources that we had. And as we were coming up over the hill, I was standing in the gun turret, and my vehicle commander turned around and said, "Hey, check everything. Are we looking good? Are we all still in line? Does everybody look like anybody's falling behind?" And I said, "No, everybody looks good. No worries at all. I think we're good." And at that time, when I re-swung my turret back around, all I remember is a white flash. That was it. And then next thing I know, I woke up in a hospital. So we had run over an IED. I was the turret gunner. I was partially ejected from the vehicle, and I too had a 50 cal, and the 50 cal came up and broke off of the T&E, completely bent the barrel, came up and hit me in the face, and it broke my jaw. I popped some teeth out. I had a laceration on my chin, bit part of my tongue, knocked me completely unconscious. And then I guess somewhere along the way, I had fallen down on either the turret or the crank handle or something, and I had fractured my pelvis. And then I fell back down into the vehicle. And at that point, everything had kind of just like fallen on top of me. I don't remember anything. I woke up and stories were put together by other Marines and corpsmen that were on site when they came to the vehicle after they could get to us after a safe clearing. So I have no idea how long we sat there for. I do not remember the helicopter medevac ride. I do not remember I remember going into either the operating room or going into a scanning room, whatever it may be, because as I kind of woke up, it was like this white light was like just in front of me. I don't know. Have you all ever seen the movie like Bruce Almighty when he's like standing there in the big white room and Morgan Freeman starts talking and he's like looking around, and it's just that's exactly like what I saw. And then I heard some, noises or people talking, and I thought, I thought that was it. I thought I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm here. What do I do now? And the doctor had told me that the first words that came out of my mouth, that was like all like jacked up over here and like blood and everything. He said that I muddled the word Jesus as like a question mark, like Jesus. And like this doctor like leaned over in front of my face, blocking out that light. And he was a British doctor. And he was like, "No, mate, you're going to be good. We're going to patch you up real quick. You just got to stay awake for us for a little while. And as we get through these tests or whatever and yada, yada." And then right then and there, pain kicked in. That's when I knew that I was still alive and my adrenaline was starting to wear down again, and pain just kicked in. And so shortly after that, was able to make it through without taking any medication for them to get their scans and tests and everything done. And then I was just begging and requesting for them just to put me to sleep. And so they ended up, kind of keeping me in like a medically induced coma for a few days because I did have a brain injury on top of that to get my brain swelling and things like that down. And so I was kind of in and out for the next 2 to 3 days or whatnot. And so that was how I sustained my PH back in 2010. So coming up on my 13-year anniversary, I guess.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I have the pieces of shrapnel. I have the
Why do
battery.
we keep that? Why do we keep the shrapnel? Why? It's a thing.
It was given. Hey, it was given to me, honestly. Like I guess like the guys, when they went up to the vehicle to do the battlefield assessment after we got gone, the whole front of the vehicle was gone, and there was shrapnel all in like the radiators, and I'll send y'all pictures. I've got pictures of my vehicle and everything. And like, if the turret shield was not in front of me, and if I did not have a 50 cal to take up that extra space, I would have been a pink mist in a memory, just based off of the shrapnel and the disintegration of the turret. If that was not there, I would have been gone. My body would probably just been ripped in half. So I'm very, very blessed, very, very grateful for that. And I'll definitely, get your guys' contact information. I'll shoot you all over some pictures.
Hey, I just added you as a friend on Facebook.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, absolutely. So I'll definitely send some over for you guys. But
try to get them by Thursday when we have our next
sure.
meeting with you.
Sure, but yeah, they gave me this like piece of shrapnel, and it was a
that's a big piece of shrapnel.
Well, it was a 155 shell that was stacked on top of homemade explosives in a yellow can and a yellow jug. And so I have a piece of the wire, piece of the battery pack, a piece of the pressure plate, a piece of the shrapnel, and the initiating system. And I got it all into a shadow box. I gave it to my dad, and he had put it all together and everything for me. So I have it in a shadow box.
Wow.
And everyone's like, "Why do you keep that?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, "I have no idea why I keep it, but it's a reminder every day that I was just like, I just do, I guess." So.
FYI, Alex's father is a 06.
Yeah, he retired from the he's a puddle pirate. He retired from the Coast Guard. So
Coast Guard, Semper Paratus, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Well, as Marines, we should be very grateful for the Coast Guard, to be honest with you.
And the Navy.
Yeah. If you know about Douglas Monroe, the only Medal of Honor recipient in the Coast Guard, and what the actions he did, even Chesty Puller to this day said that if it was not for Douglas Monroe, they would have all been slaughtered by the Japanese.
And they hold that over us forever.
They do. My dad tells me that
over us forever.
My dad tells me that almost every day. Yeah.
That's Andrew. That's because all the Coasties are kind of embarrassed that they're him is Baby Shark. So
Shark.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn, Alex, that's a great dude. That's powerful, man. That's a powerful story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, your all stories are just as much, and glad to be graced in all your all's presence. Yeah, but I'm more excited about to hear about Mr. Dan.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Dan, this is gonna be a good story.
Well, let me go ahead and grab my drink and sit back, and
I got my Dr. Pepper. I'm good to go.
On my chair for this one.
All right, Mr. Dan, it's all you.
Well, I was born at a very young age. I was actually raised on a dairy farm in Irvington, Nebraska, population 36 and unincorporated. And it was just a spot in the road. Now it's almost grown into Omaha, Nebraska. So Omaha grew around it primarily. But I went through 4 years of high school ROTC, and I said I'm going to join the Army. And 1965, right out of high school, I went down to Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri, for basic training.
Yeah,
and
been there.
Then I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia, for airborne, pre-airborne training and infantry training.
Yep.
And then I got my first permanent duty assignment was the Old Guard at Fort Myer, Virginia. And I was originally assigned to a line company. I was the right guide and guidon bearer for the 21-man honor platoon. Every time we'd bury somebody in Arlington National Cemetery that was of any rank, they would have a caisson and a 21-man platoon, and the riflemen and the drop job people. And so it was quite a team, quite a group. And then I got asked to go up to headquarters company. So I was with Delta Company, and I was asked to go up to headquarters company, which was the place where they had the tomb guards and the fife and drum corps and all the specialty units there. And I got an opportunity to start working on the actual Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So I got a chance to walk the tomb about 3 or 4 times, and then a big levy from the Pentagon came down, and anybody who had more than a year to go in service ended up going to Vietnam. And that was 1967. So I was at the Old Guard in 66. 67 came along, and they didn't send us as a unit. We went over as a bunch of individuals, landed in Camp Alpha, and then wait for your name to be called, and you're assigned to a specific unit. I was assigned to 2nd of the 12th Infantry of the 3rd Brigade of the 4th Infantry Division. And so we had a triple canopy layer jungle activity all the time. And my first Purple Heart, we were in Indian territory, not supposed to be there. And as we had set up as a security listening post, and a 72nd North Vietnamese regular moved in right within 100 yards of us and sat down. And so when we started pulling back, we said, let's not make a lot of noise here. Let's try to get out of here quietly. And so we were sneaking and peeking and retreating all at the same time. And then we had to call in progressive artillery to cover our retreat. When we got to the LZ to get picked up, bad guys were at the LZ. And I got a piece of shrapnel in the left leg, and it wasn't very big, wasn't major issue, but put me on the aircraft, and we flew back into friendly territory. Then I was asked because I was wounded. They said, "Well, we got to keep you in town here a little bit." So they asked me to be colonel, bodyguard, and radio operator for the 2nd of the 12th Infantry. So I was the radio operator for the lieutenant colonel. At that time, I was a Spec 4. And then a lot of things happened over that period of time. We were in Michelin Rubber Plantation, the Hobo Woods, the Iron Triangle, all those you hear about got moved up toward Cu Chi, right below the Black Virgin Mountain. And we were in Tay Ninh area. Tay Ninh was called Rocket City. You could almost set your clock to when the rockets would start coming in at 4, 5 o'clock in the evening. And then I got moved again out of the battalion into the division, into the 3rd Brigade. At that time, we changed from the 3rd Brigade 4th Division to the 3rd Brigade 25th Division. And so we were now all the 4th Division left, and we had the 3rd Brigade now. The 25th Division was the same group of people. We just changed patches from one side to the other. Things went along perfectly fine there for quite a while, and then along came January of 1968, and we are supporting a fire support base in what they called Sui Cut or Sui Out, which was out in the middle of the jungle at a crossroads where 2 major groups would come together all the time. And so they put a fire support base right there where these groups, the 72nd and the 71st North Vietnamese regulars, met all the time, and got overrun 4 times, I think, from between January 1st and January 3rd. and I didn't get a scratch during that whole mess. And as we were getting ready to pull out of that area, January 26th of 1968, all the helicopters, the big birds, were picking up the Connex containers, because we had buried Connex containers in the ground, and that's where we ran our tox out of. Was out of these, and so all the Connex containers were gone, and now all we had was big holes in the ground. And then the North Vietnamese regulars came back, wanted to do a counteroffensive, and that's when I got a piece of shrapnel. Oh, it's a long story, man. On the 3rd of January, when they overran us, we had a machine gun set up in the front of the bunker, and then we had it's called an S turn coming into the back of the bunker, and we had two guys bad guys coming in the back of the bunker while the machine gunner was shooting out the front. And I got a rifle. I killed the first guy coming in the door, but the second guy caught me with a rifle butt, knocked me down, and was getting ready to bayonet me. And the guy with the M60 pulled the M60 out of the window and turned around and sprayed the whole back of the bunker and killed the second guy. As he fell, he caught me with his bayonet in the right side. Luckily, he was already dead when he fell, so he didn't know where he was aiming, because he could have caught me right in the chest, but he caught me in the side. Later on, when they were removing all these Connex containers, and the 72nd North Vietnamese regulars came in again, that's when I got a piece of shrapnel in the top of the left eye, and it knocked me out. Have no idea what happened after that. Woke up in the hospital, patches on both eyes, and all the people around me cleaning up. This is 45th Medical Evac in Cu Chi. All the people cleaning up around were Vietnamese, and so they were speaking Vietnamese. And I already knew some Vietnamese, so I thought I was captured. And I started grabbing for the patches on the eyes, and this lady by the name of Major Fay jumped up on the bed and straddled me and grabbed a hold of my hands and says, "Hey, you're in an American hospital." Woo! What a relief that was. That's kind of that's my two Purple Hearts.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So I also received several other nice awards. I got the Silver Star from General Westmoreland, but long time.
Well, Mr. Dan, I greatly appreciate you
Hey.
telling that story. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Dan.
and we are more than honored to have you here with us today.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad
Yes,
you're
sir.
here. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Dan. That was
Yeah.
an amazing story, and thank you
Yes.
for your service. And welcome home.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was just about to say, from all of us on here, Dan, I know
Absolutely.
you didn't get to hear it much when you did come back, but we're very grateful for what you did, and we're very honored to have you here, and welcome home. And you're our brother, and we couldn't have done what we did had not you done what you did. So
Yep.
by all means,
We
you're a
just
hero.
we just softened them up for you. Yeah, there's a lot of people on that Vietnam Wall, 58,300 and some.
Yep.
Actually, I'll be I will go see that. I'll go see the New York Vietnam Wall. Actually, September 18th to the 22nd, I am the Tennessee representative for the National Purple Heart Hall of Fame. So I get to go up there with about 48 other Purple Hearts. It's one World War II guy, a couple Vietnam veterans, and then it's a lot of Iraq, Afghanistan guys. So we're going to go to the Vietnam Wall in New York and we're going to go to Ground Zero to the 9/11 Memorial, and it's free of charge. Like I'm taking my wife. We're having like a gala dinner, um, but I just I'm very honored because I'm going to be standing shoulder to shoulder with some guys that have done some pretty amazing things, like Alex and Bert and you. And I started tearing up. Sorry, Dan,
Yeah.
when you were starting to tear up, I was starting to tear up a little bit too.
It's tough. It is.
Yeah.
People want to hear the stories, though. They want to hear it. So
Yeah.
We
I
need
think
to.
it's
We need
good.
to.
I
Us,
think it's
us
good
youngins.
to.
We
Yeah.
need to hear these stories.
It's definitely
Yeah.
good to. I think it's good on both sides. You know, the younger people, the younger generation, they definitely need to hear it. And I think it's therapeutic for somebody like you to tell your story. Also,
It's
Yeah.
history. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely
education.
history.
It's
Yes.
You know,
history.
that's the one thing that I cannot get across more than ever is the building these bridges between the Purple Heart vets and the communities, and making them Purple Heart cities and communities. And
Yeah.
Right.
we get an opportunity. I tell all the cities, if you can gather the stories of those Purple Heart recipients, put them into a booklet, leave it at the county or the city hall of, you know, and let people read the stories. Because as most of us know, you wake up in the hospital and you have your Purple Heart on your pillow, or the family receives it in the mail, and nobody
Yeah.
ever hears the story.
Right.
So it's
Well,
True.
I'll tell you what, Dan, you put myself and Chaps on this job, and we'll get every single story out there, and we'll turn the stories over to whoever they need to go to, so they're documented forever.
To the
and
MOPH. Yeah.
there is a great organization out here, and it's called the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor. It's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's got a Purple Heart needs to send their information to that particular location, because it becomes electronically collected, and family members can go in there and type your name in and see your story long after we're gone.
Well, like I said an hour ago, I don't have one, but my grandfather does, and I'm going to be sending this his DD-214 in.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, Dan? Actually, you mentioned. I mean, that's twice we've mentioned the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor. Our senior vice commander in chief of the entire VFW, Al Liphart, is in that museum, and I'm actually very lucky. I'm next to him, like in the museum, and I get to go up there and I get to see it. But Al, he was on last year, and he told us another riveting Vietnam story where
Oh,
he
yes.
he killed like 15 people and he doesn't even remember doing it.
He doesn't even know it.
And
It's true. I do have to
And
tell us. I got to tell this one funny story, because you got to
please
laugh at some
do,
of the stuff.
please. That's please.
Of course, I was a machine gunner, you know,
Yes!
and high weapons.
Yes.
An
Yes.
M60 machine gun.
240.
And,
240
and
for the young guy.
Yeah. And so we get up on this clearing. We're getting ready to move into a village, and we got up on this clearing, and there's about a 50-yard opening where a rice paddy is. And in the middle of the rice paddy is one of these water buffaloes. Huge, great, big, huge horns. And the thing probably weighs 2 tons. And the old man calls me forward and he says, Ettinger, you're a dairy farmer, right? So, yeah. He says, what do we do with that? I said, first of all, that's not a cow. And secondly, we ain't in Nebraska anymore.
What are you gonna milk the water buffalo?
I don't know. But a little 10-year-old kid came out and grabbed that buffalo by the ring on his nose and pulled him back into the village. So that was just.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
But I think about that, laugh about that all the time. We ain't in Nebraska no more.
And Dan, I've been to your lovely state of Nebraska. I've been to Lincoln. It's very pretty there. Lots of cornfields.
Yes, lots of cornfields. Yeah, I spent 12 years enlisted before I went to the dark side. And So
He's
I
what do they
yeah.
say in the Army? It's green to gold, or do you
Green to
guys call them
gold.
Mustangs?
Yeah, Mustangs. But
Mustang sounds way better than this green to gold crap. I'm sorry.
but it was great.
Mustang
It was
sounds way cooler.
yeah. I was in E6, and they said, "Why don't you just go to OCS? You got 12 years in. Go to OCS." I was 31 years old when I went to OCS. I was an old man. You know,
I was 20. Hey, Dan,
Yeah.
I feel your pain. I was 26 when I went to
Yeah.
boot camp. They called me the oldest. I was the oldest, dumbest retard that they had ever met.
We had a 31-year-old in my boot camp class.
So
I was,
did
Yeah.
I
He
was,
was
I was
Navy.
19. I was 19, and he was 31, and they were always like, "What? Like,
Yeah.
our drill instructor was like, "Why? Like, why now?"
Yeah, the OCS, you know, the tax used to say, "Hey, hero, come here." Come here.
Yeah,
I was the only one in OCS with a combat infantry badge, you know.
right.
Yeah, that's right. Represent. That's right.
Yeah, I had,
That's right.
had the
That's
whole rack,
respect right
all
there.
that rack of what do they call it? Fruit salad on my
Your
uniform.
fruit salad.
Yeah.
Your chest
Yep.
candy, as us Marines
Yeah.
like to say.
Yeah. Hey, hero, come here.
That's right.
Give me 10. Yes, sir.
Alex, you've been in what, 15 years? You said.
15 years.
God damn.
Got to stay in now. You're over the hump.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
was like-
You can't get out.
And the thing is like, my dad had always said, I'm not going to push you to do anything. If you want it, it's yours.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here to motivate you and give you, positive vibes, but I'm not going to force you to do anything. And I always said, I'll determine when I hit my 10-year mark. And then a mentor of mine always said, well, let me put it this way. As soon as you hit your 10-year mark, you better make a decision at that 10 years right then and there, because as soon as that next day comes along, you're more than halfway there.
Absolutely.
So if you're gonna do 10 in a day, if you're gonna do 10 in a day, you might as well stay. And I was just like, I didn't look at it that way.
Not good advice, dude. Damn good advice.
Yeah, 10 in a day, you might as well stay. Yeah.
You see that little
Oh,
gem?
Yeah.
Damn.
There, look at
Yeah.
that.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that was handed over by Westmoreland himself in country.
Wow.
So
by General
Wow.
Westmoreland. Holy
I'm sorry?
shit. By the general. He gave that to you.
yeah, and that
Wow.
first thing he says, at that time I think I was an E5, and he says, "What do you want to do, soldier?" "I want to go to fucking bed, General." He says, "Get this man a Jeep."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
good.
awesome.
Wow.
Well, Dan, I will say, along with Bert and Alex, we would love to have you guys on individually for your own hour show. The offer is always there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every
And we're gonna do
Sunday,
Alex Thursday.
1900. Yeah. Every Sunday
So-
we were. Yeah.
Yeah, so we record when we do our regular show. It's not live today. It happens to be live for National Purple Heart Day, but we'd love to sit down with you guys. I'll put Chaps in charge to get you guys get you down on the calendar.
Yes, sir. Aye,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Right,
yes, yeoman. No problem, yeoman, sir.
Whatever suits you just tickles me plumb to death, mister.
Hey,
Yeah.
so
Dude,
hey,
I
hey,
swear,
Dan,
dude,
when
he
we
just
do
sounded
your
like John Wayne when he said that.
when we do your episode, you're gonna talk like John Wayne the entire time.
He did.
Please.
He sounded like John
Yeah.
Wayne when he just said that.
I happen to have met John Wayne in country too, which was
What?
yeah.
No
Oh,
way.
Yeah, they were doing the Green Beret thing, and they said, "Why don't you pretend? Why don't you take the Duke here and pretend like you're going on a patrol?"
Shut up.
And I said, "Why don't you take your camera and shove it where the sun don't shine? Because we don't pretend over here." And I'm not going to be the guy that gets John Wayne killed. I'll tell you right now. So,
Yeah.
You know what, Alex? You and
Man.
we had Chuck Norris. Bert, you probably had what? Sylvester Stallone. Who's the famous guys that were around your fobs, like when you guys were going home?
Well, we had Gary Sinise
Okay.
We had Gary Sinise.
around.
Okay.
And believe it or not, Gary Sinise is actually an honorary board member of the Woody Williams Foundation.
Yeah.
And he just moved his headquarters to good
To
old
Nashville.
Tennessee.
He's
Yeah.
right down the street.
Speaking of which, in Tennessee, I think I told you we're working on Dollywood. We've been working
Yeah,
on
that's right.
Dollywood.
You did. Yes, you did say that the other night. That's right.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
we need to get somebody from Tennessee to go down there. Her name is Carol Agee is her name, is the
Hey.
POC.
Give me the phone number. I'll make the call. We just were in Pigeon Forge to Sevierville.
Yeah.
Like 2 months ago. So I'll go. Like give me an order, sir. I'll go.
Yeah, she gives a 30% discount to veterans already.
Yeah.
You know, I've yet to go to Dollywood. I'm sorry. I was born in the state. I have not been to Dollywood yet.
Well, I can say that I have been to Dollywood with both my daughters and my family.
Is it nice?
Was it like last year or something like that? And it was
interesting.
Interesting, yes. It was very interesting. But
All
I
right.
will say this, yes, they do give a steep discount for veterans and their families. So yeah.
Yeah, we used to live down in North Carolina. When I retired out, we were in North Carolina, and we used to go up because it was only an hour and a half drive from Flat Rock, North Carolina, where we live, to Dollywood. So
yeah,
right.
That's a quick trip. Yeah.
Yeah. So we used to go up there quite often, get away from the crowds, and it's interesting to say the least.
Right.
Hey, Alex.
Whatever that means.
Sure.
I'm trying to get Brown Foreman to help out the VFW convention next year. You and I are going to have to work on that because, I mean, I've given him numbers and emails, and it's just not my place because I'm like low man on the totem pole. I can't go tell the commander in chief, hey, you need to talk to this guy like right now. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm just a little chaplain and a commander. That's it.
Right.
Little chaplain? You're the Southern Conference chaplain.
Dude, I know. Hey, listen, I don't like titles. I'm not a title guy like some guys we know in the VFW.
Your cousin runs the place.
Names.
Hey, your cousin runs the place. Why don't you just call your cousin?
Hey, listen. Hey, he's in Europe. He's in London, man. He runs the Brown Foreman Europe, that's Amsterdam, and he lives in London.
Right.
I've asked for his help, and he's given me some phone numbers and stuff, but I got to go to Aunt Dace Brown. I got to go to my aunt and see if I can try and persuade her.
Have Bobby talk to him.
Bobby
Laverne?
Oh, yeah. There you go. I did. That's funny. I sent Al an email, and I sent Bobby the same email, too. So I don't know. I'm fingers crossed. Excuse me. Fingers crossed.
I'll see Bobby this weekend. I'll remind him.
Please do.
Yeah, let's just connect, and we'll see what we can do.
Yes.
Dude, hey, Alex, dude, I'm bringing everybody from my post to Louisville. Like, I'm going to get an Airbnb. Like, we're going all out. Like, and are you in the VFW, Alex?
I am. Yep, in Middletown, Kentucky.
Damn.
Here in Louisville. It's the largest and most active VFW post in the state.
Damn it. Okay, so you know Nathan Sesko then.
I know of the name.
He was a past commander last year of the state.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yes.
Dude, 38 years old. He's like the youngest VFW state commander like ever, and that's crazy.
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
All right, we'll get together and we'll try to take over Louisville, Kentucky.
Cool.
And we better have Skyline chili like every single day.
Would you shut up about your Skyline chili?
I love Skyline chili. I love it. Hey, us machine gunners, we have to have sustenance, and Skyline chili is the best.
No, it's not.
Or White Castle, either one, White Castle or Skyline. It's okay.
All right, are you done running your suck now?
Yeah, I am.
Can we shut it down? These guys got stuff to do.
It's hey, I'm just a co-host. I'm the comedy relief of this show, okay?
I heard about Tennessee, by the way.
What you hear about Tennessee?
An elephant got away from the local circus, right?
Oh,
and ended up in the backyard of this lady that had a garden in Tennessee. And she calls the cops and she says, hey, there's this huge animal. I've never seen one like this before. It's got two tails. And the cop says, well, what is it doing? It says, it's picking up with one of its tails my cabbage heads. He says, well, what's he doing with the cabbage heads? Oh, you don't want to know that.
Oh man.
Okay, that's a thinking. Okay, that was good.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was good.
Wow.
All right, guys.
funny.
I want to thank y'all for coming on and sharing your story. We truly appreciate you guys, and thank you for your service. Welcome home, and stick around for a second while we shut it down because I want to make sure everybody gets uploaded.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
Absolutely.
do.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Bert. Thanks, Dan.
I like to have
He froze.